Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I'll be talking about 10 cornerback prospects to watch for in the NFL draft. Before we get started today, just wanted to mention that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out the podcast, and link to the merch store is down in the description below. All right, so this is not a top 10 corners list. It's not. I'm not ranking the top 10 corners. I know there's a little confusion with that on the edge. What I'm talking about is 10 corner in this one, edge in the last one, that I think the Jets could look to add. So Patrick Surtain's not going to be on this list. I don't think he's going to be on the board when the Jets are picking at 23. Caleb Farley's not going to be on this list. Same reason. I don't think he's going to be there at 23. If I don't believe they'll be there at 23, I don't think they're going to spend the number 2 overall pick on either of those guys. So I'm not talking about them. Yes, they're great corners. Yes, they're great fits. Just to clear that up before we get into it. So my first guy on the list is a guy that absolutely is going to go in the first round, and that's J.C. Horn. So he's from South Carolina. He does seem like someone who could be there in the 20s, so maybe he would be a fit at the Seattle pick. He's 6'1", 205, and he's the son of wide receiver Joe Horn. Yes, that Saints wide receiver who went underneath the padding of the field goal net, pulled out the old cell phone, and went like that. It was epic. If you're an early 2000s kid like me, you'll absolutely loved it. He has great size. He has really good physicality. He probably needs improving at tackling a little bit, but he projects as someone who could be a starting outside corner. For the Jets who need help at outside corner, this does seem like a fit. I like his size. I like the NFL pedigree from his father, so he would absolutely be someone who would be on my radar. Coming in at number 2 is Tyson Campbell out of Georgia. To me, this is someone who could be a round 2 selection. He's 6'2", 185, so really nice size, great athleticism and agility. So someone with that size who is that athletic and agile is really good. He has the NFL body type, like I just mentioned, which I really like a lot. Outside corner, works really well in zone. He needs to be a little bit more consistent. That's where he can improve on, but he is an intriguing prospect, especially in the second round. I would think he'd be worthwhile of a swing, and looks like everything the Jets and Robert Saleh would be looking for in a corner. The third guy on my list is also from Georgia, Eric Stokes, someone who I think is also in that second round range. He's 6'1", 185, good ball skills. Sometimes he can get a little bit grabby, so that's his con, but similar to Tyson Campbell, he would be a good scheme fit as well. So I do think it would be someone who the Jets would look to target in the second round. To me, that's right in the sweet spot. And there's some corners that I really like in the second round for the Jets to find somebody. And I think he or Campbell, really too, both the Georgia kids, would be good fits for the Jets. So that's my third guy on my list. Next up, Asante Samuel Jr., FSU. I also think he is a round 2 guy. I've seen some mocks where he's snuck into the back half of the first round. I'd be surprised. I think he probably goes in the top, I'll say 45, but somewhere in that 32 to 45 range. He is the son of Asante Samuel, the legendary corner who had 1 million interceptions. He's 5'10", 184, so he's much smaller than the other corners I have listed so far. He's really good in man coverage, and he can play both the slot and the outside, which is a plus. The size thing is a little bit off. I don't know if the Jets are going to go that route, and the benefit in man coverage, I don't know if that's necessarily going to fit to what the Jets are doing, but I like that he's versatile and can play a bunch of different ways, so that is definitely a reason why that he is on my list. Next up, Elijah Molden from Washington. To me, he's a round 2 or early round 3 guy. 5'10", 191. Size may be an issue. Similar to Asante Samuel Jr., a little bit of a smaller corner. He has great athleticism, is really, really good against the run, a good tackler, and he projects more of a slot corner. So this isn't someone you're going to take and put on the outside or try to develop to be an outside corner. This is someone who could be an inside or a slot corner. So if you don't re-sign Brian Poole, or if you do re-sign Brian Poole on a short-term deal, maybe you are trying to mold a player like Molden to become your more regular slot corner. But his athleticism really makes him interesting, which is why I include him on the list. Same with Asante Samuel. They don't necessarily fit the prototype of what you would think the Jets are looking for at corner, but they are intriguing with some of their traits, so I did include them on their list, even though they're not technically a scheme fit. Next up, I have Paulson Adenibu from Stanford. To me, late second round, early third round, 6'1", 190, so we get the size right back up there. Very, very good athleticism. He has a really good football IQ, which means he could thrive in his zone. Wink, wink at what the Jets are going to be doing. He has starter potential on the outside, which I think is more so what you are looking for. When you're looking at the New York Jets, that's a big question mark what they're going to do on the outside. I liked what we saw from Bryce Hall. He's not guaranteed to be locked in as a starter, but I think he should be in the mix fighting. Bless Austin. I don't know if he is good enough to be a starter at this level. Not really too sure. So they definitely need help, whether it is in free agency or the draft. And Adenibu is definitely someone outside of round one that could be that fit. The next guy that I want to talk about has really dropped in the draft process, and that's Shaun Wade from OSU. To me, I have him going in the third round now. He was someone who could have potentially been going at the back half of the first round. He's 6'1", 194, and yes, he really struggled in the college football playoffs. No, I don't think he's undraftable. Some of the reactions were a little bit much to his poor performance. He is a boom or bust prospect, and the potential is really high. And we've seen Joe Douglas go that route a couple of times in the draft so far. The Mekhi Becton pick has worked out so far. It's been really, really good, but that was a boom or bust pick. And Shaun Wade seems like a boom or bust player. He may need to transition to safety, some people think, which might not be a bad thing depending on what happens with Marcus May. And he's a little inconsistent. I don't love him. That's why he's not higher up on my list, and that's why I have him in round 3. But as a round 3 player, there's some upside there for sure. And we saw at OSU there were flashes, and this kid can play. At number 8 on my list, I have Ambry Thomas, Michigan, round number 3. I think for him, he's 6 foot 189. He opted out in 2020, so I think some people are going to hold that against him. He's physical in press. He may be more of a slot corner, but I like his physicality, and I think that there's a chance he could work out on the outside. I think if he played this year, and listen, I don't blame anyone for opting out. You got to do whatever is best for you in your situation. I think there's a chance that he would be going higher than the third round, but I think that some of the scouts are going to hold this against him for not playing and using that as more of a risk for taking a player who hasn't played in a year. But an intriguing prospect similar to Wade as a higher upside mid-round guy. Next up, I have Israel Mukuamu. I think I said that right. South Carolina, round 4. He's 6'4", 205. Really intriguing size. He's a big dude. Physical, long, good range, but he may struggle with some twitchy and smaller speedster kind of receivers because he doesn't make the quickest of transitions and quickest of cuts. But as a round 4 player, you're going for upside and interesting traits, and his size is intriguing to me. This is not someone you draft and say, oh, I can plug him in and play from day one. No. This is someone that you develop. And something good with Robert Salas, he's had the track record of developing these mid to late round corners and getting a lot out of them. So maybe he's not someone, if you're drafting him, maybe he's not someone you're plugging in right away, but as a developmental player, not a bad idea. Last guy on my list, also a round 4 player, someone who I think is similar in terms of risk or traits and stuff like that, and that's Keith Taylor out of Washington, 6'3", and boy can he run. He's got some good speed. He's played inside and out, which I really like a lot. The versatility, that ranks very high for me with corner prospects, and he's good in his zone scheme, which fits what Robert Salas is going to do. I was reading up on him, and I forget which draft scout it was, but someone was saying that he would be a perfect fit in the 49ers defense because of how they run things. And hello, Robert Salas is going to be coming to New York, so he'd be a perfect fit in the new Jets system as well. And as a round 4, kind of a swing. Most of these guys that I listed off in round 3 and round 4, there are some risk there, but there is also some upside. Take an upside player who has really good size, who stands out. How many 6'3", 6'4" corners are there that are really good at getting after the ball? So that'd be a little bit different from what the Jets have had. So I'm intrigued by those last 2 specifically, but let me know your list or some guys that you would like to see the Jets target at corner in the draft. Could be even later guys than what I listed. I went up into round 4. I want to prioritize corner, so I'm not really looking to wait till round 4, 5, 6, 7 really, but let me know some corners that I may have missed. I might have left some people off this list, so get at me on the comments or on social media. Subscribe. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll talk to you next time.